Good morning. Welcome to our May Superintendent's Update. As I typically do, I'll share some information with you regarding our recent school board meeting. And then I've got a couple of other items that I want to bring to your attention and just let you know a little bit about. I guess the first thing I should tell you is that the last school board meeting was held on the aviation campus. Had an opportunity to highlight that facility and that program. Amy Harden and the entire staff over at that campus, like all of our campuses, doing a great job. We scheduled to have some of our school board meetings away from the main campus. We'll be going to the Seminole campus in September of this school year, but in May we went to the aviation campus and had our board meeting there and had an opportunity to highlight that specific program during the board meeting. The first few items as far as the board agenda is concerned are pretty standard items. I will highlight the reports of the board that I did and some other folks did. That would be agenda item number 4. Graduation. This year, our main graduation event will be held on May the 24th, 1 o'clock at the Citizen Potawatomi Nation Event Center south of downtown Shawnee. That's where we've had it the last few years. Great venue. The Citizen Potawatomi Nation is just a great partner in so many ways, and that particular location has just been outstanding for our graduation. I encourage you, if you've never been to one of our graduation events, take the time. There's plenty of room in this particular venue, and it's just a great opportunity to see why it is that we do what we do each and every day. Also, we have our employee recognition luncheon on May the 29th. That would be the Tuesday after Memorial Day. That will be at 11:30 a.m. Here on the main campus, and certainly want every one of our employees to be there. Gives us an opportunity to enjoy an excellent meal, as well as to recognize some retirees and some folks that were selected by their peers for various awards within the district. And so that is May the 29th for Employee Recognition Luncheon. Last Tuesday also, in addition to the board meeting, we had our annual STEM Banquet. Miss Domini and several other people did great work there and do fantastic work throughout the school year, recognizing and promoting science, technology, engineering, and math throughout our region. We do so much more than our pre-engineering program. They do great work there with robotics and the academic coursework those students go through, but we've got a footprint throughout the region as it relates to STEM, and Missy Domini heads that up. The STEM Banquet is just the culminating event to our efforts to recognize outstanding STEM students throughout the Gordon Cooper Technology Center District, and that was on the 8th as well. Our Rocket Man Run, since we had our April board meeting, we had that event. That is the primary fundraiser for our Educational Foundation. Our Educational Foundation's sole purpose, every penny that is given to that particular foundation from some staff and through the Rocket Man Run goes to support scholarships to students here at Gordon Cooper Technology Center in a lot of ways. There's not a single program on this campus that does not have students that are impacted in a pretty big way through our foundation. But that Rocket Man Run, although the weather was not real cooperative, it was pretty windy and pretty chilly that morning, we still looks like we're going to net about $20,000 for our foundation in just about 5 or 6 short years because of the work of so many people in our district and great support from the community. That particular foundation has grown pretty substantially. We've got a ways to go, but it has grown pretty substantially, and thank everybody. We had a great group of internal folks that just did fantastic work and helped make that just a great event. Also, got some good news this week as well through the Shawnee Home Builders Association. That's a local group of home builders that build homes and kind of support the economic vitality of specifically Shawnee and kind of the surrounding area. But they have given a donation to the foundation in the amount of $10,000. Just this week we received that check. We'll be doing some promotion as it relates to that and giving a big thank you to the Shawnee home builders for their support. That $10,000 will be basically earmarked to support specifically 3 programs on this campus. That would be our residential commercial construction program, that would be our electrical trades, and our heat and air program. Those 3 programs, students from those programs will benefit for several years because of that generous donation. If you happen to know somebody associated with the Shawnee Home Builders, please thank them. That was very generous of them, and we're going to do our part to thank them, but it wouldn't hurt for each one of us to do that as well. So a lot of stuff to share with the board as it relates to our reports. Let's go ahead and move on through the agenda at this point. Items 6 and 7 are kind of tied together. Last year, we hired a new auditing firm that will be the district's independent auditor. That's Kerry John Patton, in essence, associates. He's got several people that work with and for him. They will be our auditor again for FY 2019. And then in addition to that, item 7 is kind of the first part of the budget cycle as it relates to a district budget, and it's called a temporary appropriations, and its name describes exactly what it is. It's temporary. It is the dollar figure that we budget from until we get a final appropriated amount through what's called the estimate of needs. And so we presented that to the board, and that was approved as well. That, from a practical standpoint, puts things in place to allow us to start dealing with the different expenditures that we have beginning July 1. You have to start with a temporary appropriations. That gets you through the first few months of a fiscal year. And then when you get the estimate of needs approved, that gets a more firm budget amount. Item number 8, you may remember from last month, the board voted to reject all bids the first time around. We went back and revamped the project just a little bit, and that also gave us a little bit of time to kind of figure out where we were at from a building fund budget standpoint. And the board did approve both the road project that will finish up kind of the paving replacement around the main campus, and then also there'll be some parking associated with the area between the H building, that's where heat and air and residential commercial construction are located, and operations. So we'll have some additional paved areas for parking for various reasons, as well as the road will be taken care of. Hopefully, they're going to start the day after graduation, and the plan is that we'll try to have most of that project completed by the time that students get back here in August. Hopefully, if we have anything left there, it might be the parking. The plan is that the road will be done as well. While I'm talking about that, I will mention to you the company that is developing the property west of us, right across the creek, where there's now a very nice convenience store, and hopefully soon there'll be some other activity there as well. They will be analyzing their own bids for a road that will intersect our north exit, and then it will widen our north exit as well. If that all comes together properly during the months of June and July, they'll be doing that project as well. That's not directly related, nor is it a cost to the district. That private vendor is taking care of that, but I just wanted you to know, if you see some work out to the north, that's what that's all about. Item number 9 is a new item this year, and there will be more information forthcoming. I sent out a little email about this last week. The board voted to basically change the way that we handle our dues and our membership and our fees associated with the Oklahoma Association of Career and Technical Educators and the national group, the Association of Career and Technical Educators, ACTE and ACTE respectively. beginning this year, the district will pay what's called a positional membership. What that means from a practical standpoint is those of us, and perhaps a few more, that have historically been a member of OKACTE and ACTE, we will no longer have to go through the reimbursement process that we did in the past. That will be handled by the district directly to OKACTE and ACTE, and will also handle some of the registration fees as well. So here's my one thing: if you're viewing this online, do not, I repeat, do not go online until you hear further information from us and begin your registration, due payments, and or the registration fees to the summer conference. So don't do any of that, because the district will pay for those things directly, and the sequence has to happen where the district takes care of their piece of it, and then later on at a point in time where we'll let you know, you'll go online and have to do a couple of things as well. But that whole process should be a lot easier on you. It certainly will be a better situation for finance, and it will be a positive situation for OKACTE and ACTE. So again, item 9 is a different way this coming year that we're going to handle all of the dues to OKACTE, the divisional dues, the dues to ACTE, and the registration fees. So do not go online until you get more guidance from my office as it relates to that process. Item 10 is just a continuation of what we've been doing for the last couple of years. That program, Medical Lab Technology, is having excellent success. We enjoy having them on campus, and those students, like most of our programs that are truly Gordon Cooper programs, are being very successful in terms of passing their certification test and getting very good employment out there in the medical field. Item number 11, there was an analysis done by some of the LPN staff, finance staff, and some of the student services supervisors to take a look at our LPN pricing structure, etc. We really did a couple of things. One, we needed to clean that up so it better aligned with what financial aid expects. And secondly, we hadn't in a while really taken a close look at how we compare in terms of our pricing to some of the other technology centers in the state or in the region specifically. And we did increase that a little bit. I think it was a couple of $100. The overall cost will go up about $200, maybe $250. But that still puts us at the lowest price point for tuition and fees of any technology center in the region by a pretty sizable amount. I also want to mention to you, we will be analyzing over the course of this next school year most all of our programs and do the same kinds of things. We'll get them aligned where they meet the expectations of the federal guidelines for financial aid, as well as we want to make sure that we're charging an amount that's not extreme, but at the same time is at a level that is similar to what our competition is charging. Item 12, several out-of-state trips. I'll kind of come back to the Skills USA, the HOSA, and some other kinds of things a little bit later. Item 13 is a standard item as well, involving the Manufacturing Alliance. For those that don't know, that's a program we partner with that entity. We provide most of the money for that provides great resources to the private sector manufacturers in our region. And Clarence Prevost from our staff heads up that effort, does a great job. Item 14 is pretty standard. Item 15 is something we've done the last few years, where we gave our 12-month employees a little bit of flexibility in their schedule in June and July, where based upon their conversations with their supervisors, they can abbreviate their lunch by 30 minutes, and then that obviously allows them to depart from campus a little bit 30 minutes earlier as well. That'll all be orchestrated and approved by the supervisors. So if you're kind of impacted there, you'll need to get with your supervisor and make sure that we coordinate. What I always tell the board is, even when we do these abbreviated schedules, we don't want to have an adverse effect on those we serve. And so we've got to sometimes juggle some folks where we're here adequate hours to serve the public. So that's why the supervisor is going to kind of guide that process. Item 16 through 25 deals with personnel items. I'll start with 19. Go ahead, Matt, if you would. Item 19 deals with our recommendation to the board for our new Ag Business Coordinator. Sarah Weeks currently serves in that capacity. She will transition July 1st to our new Director of Internal Excellence. And Jeremy Fry will be our new Ag Business Coordinator beginning July 1st. Our online consortium coordinator, we spent this last year or the current year without a person in that role. Casey Morris took another position with Odyssey Ware right at the beginning of this current fiscal year, and Sarah Weeks has been doing an excellent job kind of trying to serve as best we can there, but we asked the board to approve hiring Evan Smith as that online consortium coordinator. That is a position that we've had in place for the last 3 or 4 years, and Evan will fill that position going forward. His actual starting date will be July the 23rd. That's an 11-month position. Item 21, I mentioned Missy earlier, and you've seen in previous agendas that Miss Dominy is going to be heading back to Texas to be closer to her husband's work, and her son will graduate as well, and so she'll be leaving us beginning July 1st, and Melanie Greenwood will be serving in the role as STEM Outreach Coordinator starting on July the 23rd as well, and we're excited to have Melanie and looking for great things there. Jessica Utter will fill our Business Education Technology Instructor position. She's a young lady that's been teaching for a few years, most recently for Tecumseh, and look forward to her doing great things as well as she attempts to fill some shoes there. Item 23, Robin Michaels, our current safety instructor, has been reassigned. She is our new safety coordinator. Gary Tucker is retiring this year, and Robin will transition to Gary's position beginning July the 1st. We'll still be doing a lot of safety training as we have in the past, and most of the training will either be handled by Robin or probably predominantly with adjunct instructors of various sorts. Item 24 and 25 are extra duty things that relate to some of our folks that are maybe going to national competitions with our skills students or our host students, or some extra duty for some of our new hires to get caught up and get prepared to kind of hit the ground running when they start in July or August. Item 26, 27, 28, 29, etc. all deal with financial issues. Still doing okay as a district, as always, kind of watching things. One of the things that we do constantly and we'll continue to have to do just to make sure that we've got the resources we need to meet the needs of our customers. 2 or 3 things that I want to highlight, and then we'll be finished for today's session. First thing, I would certainly want to congratulate all of the students, the BPA students, the HOSA students, and our Skills USA students, and their instructors and advisors for a great job. We've got a lot of students and instructors going to national competition. Actually, we've got a few gone right now. Our BPA students are in the Dallas area. If they're not there, they're on their way back from their national competition. In June, both the HOSA students, that's the health occupation students, as well as Skills USA, a lot of our T&I programs. We'll have several students going to Louisville later in June, and just always do a great job there, and looking forward to a few national champions coming back from those events. The next thing that I'd want to bring to your attention, and you received a little notice regarding this from the Wellness Committee, but we will be recognized by the Blue Zones local organization as one of the worksite approved Blue Zones companies, in essence. May 23rd, they'll be on campus for some pictures and a celebration of sorts. I'm not going to attempt to just recognize everybody, but there are several in our midst that have done just a tremendous job. I will highlight our health committee. You get weekly updates from them and all kinds of different things that they've done throughout this year and in previous years to really encourage us and make it a little easier maybe to make some healthier choices. And that group has just done a fantastic job throughout the years, specifically this most current year. And just when you see them, we really need to thank them. They've done a great job. Our ladies in food service, I mean, from the emails we get from Kim to the different things that they prepare for us, the offerings, Vicki and her crew in food service are just doing great things, and every chance you get, we need to thank them for all that they do to, again, just kind of make it a little bit easier for us to maybe make a better choice for our own health and wellness. And again, I'm not going to do a good job of recognizing everyone, but there's so many people that have just done a great job this year and in previous years to help each and every one of us just be a little bit more aware, and our health and wellness is important, and they've done a good job of helping us just be more aware of that, and maybe some of us have benefited substantially from that. All of us certainly have had that opportunity. Last thing that I want to mention deals with some legislation. Won't try to get in the weeds too much. The 2018 legislative session ended early. It ended last week, last Friday to be specific. It's what they call sine die. Just a little recap. The legislature finished their work last legislative session in 2017 and almost immediately went into special session. They had trouble coming up with any kind of solutions in special session, so they went to a second special session. That second special session actually extended, and I know this is confusing, but they were doing their regular session this past spring and the special session simultaneously. Don't ask me how that works, but that's what happens. There were a few what we might call minor pieces of legislation, real victories for career tech as it relates to some certification, as it relates to giving our high school students a little bit more flexibility to meet some graduation requirements, and there were a couple of other things. The big thing that most people are aware of, and I alluded to it a little bit last time, was the teacher walkout that predominantly impacted our K-12 and our K-8 partner schools. And as a result of that, there were three pieces of legislation. I'll kind of mention them real briefly. One of them was House Bill 1010 XX, and the XX is on there because it was a special session and a second special session, hence the XX. That piece of legislation was the revenue, the tax increases that were passed with a supermajority. They had more than 75% approval for those different tax initiatives. And that was one piece of legislation that was passed. The second piece is what they call the teacher pay raise. And that was House Bill 1023 XX. And that has a lot of moving parts to it, but I will simply let you know that in the language of House Bill 1023XX, there was what's called authorizing language, which basically means that it's authorized if 1010XX, or if funds are available. And so I'll come back to that in just a second. The last piece of legislation was House Bill 1026XX, and that one dealt with support employee pay raises as well. The reason I want to mention that is because since the legislative session has been over, there is a group in the state of Oklahoma. I typically refer to them as the Tom Coburn Group. Former U.S. Senator from Oklahoma, Tom Coburn, is kind of the front person for that group. And basically they have filed an initiative petition to do away with House Bill 1010XX. What that means in a practical sense is they will be collecting signatures. They have 90 days from May the 1st to collect 42,000 signatures to put that on the ballot. Then it will go to a vote of the people, and then the people will vote, people being the voters in the state of Oklahoma, will vote whether to do away with all those taxes or to keep them in place. A yes vote would do away with all the taxes associated with House Bill 1010XX. A no vote would keep all of those taxes in place. Let me take you through the sequence of events. They have filed with the state election board, the request to the ballot language, the language that would be on the ballot for the state question. It will be state question, I believe, 799. But on state question 799, once they get the signatures, those signatures will be certified, and then the governor will determine a date for an election. At the point in time that they collect the 42,000 signatures until the election is held, all the taxes associated with House Bill 1010XX are suspended. So in a practical sense, all the revenue that could have been generated will no longer be generated. So that means that much of the revenue that was in place out of House Bill 1023XX to support 1023XX, which was the teacher pay raise, will no longer be there. And I can explain that in more detail at another point in time. But suffice it to say, this particular state question that seeks to basically eliminate House Bill 1010XX will put in limbo much of the legislation that takes place. What will happen once they get those signatures, and I have no doubt they'll get 42,000 signatures. I contend they'll get 42,000 signatures within the first 30 days, and it won't take them 90 days. Once they get those, then probably the legislature will have to come back into a third special session to take action in response to the suspension of all of those tax increases. If you're confused, you're probably not alone. What is happening with this political football is going to just simply be difficult, and there'll be all kinds of responses to that. Obviously, the people that are in support of State Question 799 contend that there's all kinds of money out there, there's waste and graft, et cetera, et cetera. I happen to believe personally that's not the case, but that's their contention. Obviously, the legislature felt like that there was much needed revenue for the state, and a lot of other people in the state felt that way as well. But they do have the ability legally to have a state question, to get those signatures, etc. And if it goes on the ballot, depending upon the vote of the people, that could change things dramatically. Probably, if it does go to the vote of the people and House Bill 1010XX does get a yes vote, and State Question 799 gets a yes vote, which does away with those taxes. You're probably going to see a teacher walkout again. You're probably going to see a lot of political gyrations, all within the confines of a governor's race, House races, Senate races, etc. I encourage you to get engaged. We've got House elections and Senate elections. The primaries will take place on June the 26th. This coming June, you'll have an opportunity to vote, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, in some primary election around the region. It will be a critical election. Matter of fact, in southern Potawatomi County, if you live basically south of Shawnee and over west towards Norman, you're actually only going to have one election. You're going to have a June 26th election for Josh Cockcroft's House seat, because there is no Democratic candidate. And so if one of those, I think there's 4 Republican candidates in that particular House seat, one of them gets 50% plus 1 vote, then there is no general election. That's the House member. I encourage you to just be informed, get informed, and by all means, vote. That's the most important thing. That's it for now. Congratulations again to all of our students and advisors and instructors. Big congratulations to everybody on our Blue Zone worksite recognition. Great work there by so many people. And until next time, have a great day. Thank you.